Dude, sick. We're live.
Hell yeah.
Okay, I can officially say it now. Welcome to the podcast. I'll give you a little intro, and I'll hand it over to you for your own intro, of course, too. But
Yep.
super excited today to have you on. Today we're talking to Harald Hellström. Harold's a super sick street skier, part of the Forre crew, has also been filming with Level 1 recently. I believe you're from Finland. I'll keep that short and sweet. But yeah, any broader intro you want to give for yourself, just for the folks out there?
I don't know, that's pretty much it, yeah. I'm from born and raised Finland, live in Helsinki now. Uh, Mostly just stay back here in Finland, travel every now and then to film every other places, but I like to stay back home in Helsinki.
Sick. Easy.
Yeah.
So, dude, what are you up to there right now? Like, what's happening in October? October
Uh,
24 for anyone.
yeah. Not too much at the moment, actually. I was working during the summer. I was building like bike pump tracks. Pretty fun job. A lot of friends work there too. And then now it's just kind of like an in-between time. Not skiing yet. Or Ruka opened already, but I live in Helsinki, so it's pretty far to go up there. So I just went there once, and now just waiting to get some snow down to southern Finland also, and wait for the local resorts to open to get some little pre-season skiing going. And yeah, pretty much not doing nothing at the moment. Feels
Sick.
pretty boring,
How's
but
the
classic.
What's the pump track scene like in Finland? Are we talking just like the dirt pump tracks,
They're asphalt pump tracks.
asphalt pump tracks?
Yeah, I think it's pretty big and popping actually. What I've heard is that it's the second biggest country in Europe, or like second most pump tracks after Switzerland, I think.
Oh, really?
So yeah, that's what I heard. Yeah, don't trust me on that. I'm not a pump track expert besides of building them, but yeah.
Nice. What goes into building them? Are you like out there with like fresh asphalt all day, kind of like people fixing highways, or?
Pretty much. Yeah, we use like rocks or gravel, sand to build the base, and then we just pour asphalt on, and it's pretty simple. It's a fun job.
Nice. How's the scene out there in the summer? Like, what do you kind of do at the pump track?
Huh?
Do you like hang out there during the day? Is that like a spot to be?
No, I don't know. I just build them. That's just my job. Then I go back home and do other stuff. No, yeah. I go to skate parks every now and then, but I don't really know what people do at the pump tracks. I guess I don't know. Somebody's buying them at least because we're building them. So I hope somebody uses them also for something.
True. So, what's the summer in Helsinki like? Were you there most of the time, or do you travel around more?
Yeah, I was traveling around for the job, but then most of like weekends and stuff, I was just in Helsinki. It's nice. I love it. It's warm, but it's not too hot, and we're by the ocean, so we can go swimming. And there's a lot of cool events and stuff happening in the summer, and a lot of good friends around. It's just nice. Take it easy. Forget about skiing.
Yeah, nice. You just like take months off pretty much. So I know a lot of people will be chasing snow all year round.
Yeah. No, I've never really been into that, and it might be because I never. Actually, the first time I was doing skiing in the summer was last summer at Hood, or the summer before this summer. I was skiing at Hood for the first time ever outside of like the normal ski season. So I've never really been into like chasing snow in the summer and traveling for that. So I like to like have a life outside of skiing in the summer and just fully forget about skiing, and then yeah, I'll get enough of it in the winter anyway. So
Yeah, I bet. Like, what was the biggest Finnish summer event? Like, what's a happening thing that people should go to if they could?
I don't really know. I feel like maybe, of course, there's like cool festivals and stuff, but I feel like Probably just like a normal day, like go swimming, like have a couple beers, just stay out late and outside, and maybe play some games or kick a ball around or something. That's probably what like Finnish summers all about.
Yeah, more about the mellow lifestyle. I lived in the UK for a while, and that was like the same energy. It's like, oh, it's like warm and nice out for like 3 months. Let's do all the
Yeah,
outdoor things now.
pretty much how it's here.
Sick. And is it just like light out for like 16 or 17 hours a day or something crazy like that?
Yeah, pretty much.
More. Yeah.
Now it's now it's dark all the time almost. So it's nice to enjoy the brighter times in the summer.
Dude, I bet. So when does the season start again in Ruka? Like what's first day there?
Uh, they usually open like first weekend of October. So now they opened the 8th of October. Uh, yeah. So they've been open for uh, almost a month now.
Nice. And it's not a glacier, right? It's just like
No, no, it's
cold.
not anything close. They like store the snow. They make big snow
Um,
piles at the end of the season, and then they pack them all nice and they store. Most of the snow melts, but then they have their huge snow piles, so they just like spread it out, and then as soon as it gets colder, they start shooting some snow also.
nice. Yeah, I've seen some clips from there already. It seems like almost slushy. Like I can tell if it's
Yeah,
April or
yeah, it got pretty hot too, or like usually it gets colder faster around this time, but they almost had to close because it started melting a lot. But
oh,
now I think they're getting some nice minus degrees, so they can start making some snow.
nice. Dude, I think that's the only place I can think of in Europe that is open that early that's not a glacier. Because in Austria
Yeah,
we
I
have
think
Intertukes and all, but it's like,
yeah, I think Clapham does it too these days
oh right,
also.
Clapham is also, yeah, they snow farmed
Yeah,
hard, right? They just have like a patch of snow and grass, and it's just a great.
yeah, that's what Ruka did, but it's funny because Ruka has been doing that for like years, like 5, 6, 7 years already, and nobody realized it. But then when Clapham started doing it, everybody realized that people can do that, and yeah, Ruka's been doing that for a long time already. But it's cool, Clapham is doing it also.
Sick. And what's a drive up there from Helsinki?
It's like a full day drive, like 8 to 9 hours. So it's not
Oh
really just a
wow.
weekend thing. Yeah,
Yeah, that's like a whole commitment.
yeah. But so usually we go there for like a week. No, we're there for 10 days now, since like the opening day, and then we stayed a little longer after that too. And then yeah, usually we might go back up next month or something. But yeah, we go a couple times before we get like before they start. They open pretty early in the south too. As soon as we get like negative degrees, they can start making snow, and they open these like small pop-up parks super quickly also.
That's sick. Just like little kind of like tow parks or something, or hike parks
Yeah,
even.
just a little hike park, or like just like a mini park, anything.
That's sick that they do that. Like that's huge. I did not have
Yeah,
that growing up in Switzerland. You just drove down
yeah.
the mountain.
No, it's always the park skiing and snowboarding scene has always been pretty like the main thing at these like local small resorts. So and nowadays they're super competitive with between each other, the resorts. So they like try to open before the other one and stuff. So it's just all good for us because we get to enjoy more skiing.
It's funny that you mentioned that it's like so core to the ski culture. I don't think I've heard that about anywhere else. I mean, you look at the US, Vail is shutting down parks left and right. They're moving away
Yeah,
from that. Maybe it was core
yeah.
before, but it was always like the troublesome kids. Like, why do you think that is in Finland that it's so dear to the heart?
Uh, I think it's at least at these like small resorts in the south. I think it's mainly because they're not really like a place you go for like a vacation. Like they don't have any like hotels or like fancy food places or anything. They just have the resort, and they're super small, so not like too many people will go there just to, like ski like groomers and stuff a whole day because it's like a 15-second lap. So like
Yeah.
the parks are kind of what gets the locals there, and they keep them alive and stuff.
Nice. That almost sounds like East Coast skiing.
Yeah, it's kind of the same vibe, I would say.
Nice. How long do you think park skiing's been around in Finland? Do you think like from the start, like late 90s or
That's a good question. I
park
feel a
riding?
little ashamed that I can't answer that one, but yeah, I would still call myself youngish, so I haven't been around for that long. But I think it's been around for a long time. Somebody older than me would probably know better, but
Nice. And what do you think has been more of a driving force in Finland? Is it skiing or snowboarding? Because I know like Eero Ettala, or I probably pronounced that wrong, from like
yeah.
OG
No,
days.
yeah. Um, I don't really know. I feel like snowboarding has probably been a bigger thing, like during this whole time. But skiing's definitely been around, and I know there's some like OG guys who's like been in big competition and X Games and stuff like in the early 2000s. So maybe it just hasn't been as big or like shown as much worldwide. Like they haven't made videos and stuff, so that might be a reason also.
Yeah, right on. I'm wondering like who's the most OG Finnish skier you can think of?
Uh, that's a I don't know. Yeah, I can't probably I don't know. Maybe I won't answer that one because it's probably gonna be somebody who's not the real OG because I don't really know everybody. I'm too young, too uncultured.
Yeah, no worries. I'll look up, try to find an answer for you, text you later when I'm
Yeah,
maybe
no, yeah,
ChatGPT can tell us.
maybe.
Sick. So how far was your hometown from Ruka or Helsinki? Like growing up?
So I grew up pretty close to Helsinki, so south, South Finland. So pretty much as far as you guys from Helsinki too. But I was lucky enough to grow up to this small resort uh, called Talma, which is like a super nice, just like a tiny resort, but it's like one of my favorite ones ever. And I grew up just like a 5 minute drive from there, and yeah, still ski there. A lot of like snowboard heads and skiers still go there a lot, and they're just getting better every season.
Sick. What's the vibe like there? Like, do they have a nice park, or is it more just like of a hike setup, kind of like homey park?
No, they have a really nice. They have a couple parks actually,
Oh,
different like smaller and bigger ones. They're all small, but they have like a lot of. That's like been their main thing. They even have a half pipe too, which is pretty sick.
wow.
But the resort, yeah, it's like the peak is like 55 meters or something, so it's super small. But they still have like four or five like running lifts and stuff. So it's yeah, it's the best.
That's sick. Actually, just mentioning a half pipe, I don't know why I'm thinking of this, but you reminded me of like probably the oldest Finnish skier I can think of. Things, or maybe he's not Finnish. Geez, I'm gonna embarrass myself. He did like a half pipe shoot in an indoor half pipe in Ruka years ago. He rode for Gibberish.
Uh,
I think it was Alexander something, but he might have been
I don't.
Swedish. But he definitely rode Ruka, so I think he's Finnish.
No idea. Doesn't ring any bells.
Yeah. So what movie? He's in the Do Work.
AJ Kemppanen was this. AJ Kemppanen was OG pipe skier from Finland, but I don't think he rode for Gibberish ever. I don't know. Actually, it might be that he rode for Gibberish.
I'll have to look it up. I'll say he was on Salomon. He was a big rider back in the day. But
Yeah,
I'm sure
I think it's AJ Kemppanen. AJ Kemppanen is the name. Probably. I think he was on Gibberish and Salmon actually. Now when you mention it.
nice. I'll bookmark it, look into it again.
Yeah.
Well, sick that you had that home park with just like a whole nice setup growing up. Was it
Yeah.
always like that, or did you see it kind of like progress throughout the years in terms of quality?
Of course, it's progressed, but it was always really good. as far as I can remember, and they've always focused a lot on just like, or their like main focus has definitely been the park side of things. So it's always been like a really nice setup, just going there, like pretty cheap and quick lifts, and like a lot of homies and youngsters around when I was a kid too. So that's where I met most of the Forre guys also.
Nice. That's sick that it like progressed positively. That's again check number two of things
Yeah,
I don't hear often from like local hills.
yeah, no, yeah, they're still pushing a lot and like getting new rails and just making it nice. And there's another resort also pretty close called Sveitsin Hiihtokeskus, which they also in like 4 years ago maybe started focusing on like park and stuff, and now they have a super nice park too. So they're both pretty close, and they're like homies and hook us up with tickets and stuff. So it's nice to have some options.
That's sick. Did you have a good crew like growing up that's still kind of out there in the ski scene doing stuff?
I definitely did have a bunch of sick homies growing up skiing, which I feel like push or like kept me skiing because when I was young I wasn't really focused on learning tricks because I never did competition, so I was just focused on like fooling around in the hills. So it definitely had a bunch of homies to do that when I was younger. Some of them still ski. I don't think anybody of them are super active anymore, but some of them still ski. A couple do not, and yeah, pretty much. Some of them are there. Most of them are like still good homies for me, and see them every now and then. And some of them are super close homies also.
Nice. So no one in the street crews or anything that you've kind of hung out with over the years?
Uh, Actually, yeah, Joona Sipul and Matias Suomi, they're both. I met them pretty young, and at least Joona I met super young, and he's still like filming for 4A and stuff. So,
Yeah.
but he wasn't maybe like my main homies when I was younger, but I definitely met him a long, long time ago.
Sick. I want to get into how you got into that crew, but maybe we can do it like on the timeline of just starting with like how you skied and how you got to where you're at today. So I guess very important question. Were you ever a ski racer? Is that a thing in Finland where
No,
kids start ski racing and then get into park?
it's definitely a thing, but no, I wasn't. I think it's because the resort is super small, and they never had any like ski racing teams or anything, so I didn't get into that. And I got into skiing through my brother, and he was like skiing park with his homies and stuff. So I got into skiing through him and just wanted to do what he was doing, of course. And then, yeah,
How old were you when you just kind of started? I guess like super young, right?
uh, probably when I started skiing, I was probably like 5 or something, 6,
Yeah,
7.
straight to the park.
Pretty much. I think I went to like a ski school, but I did that after I've been skiing for a couple years already. So it was pretty easy for me to just do it because my parents probably wanted me to like know the basics, and then yeah, I probably got into park skiing like pretty much when I started, or like at least into trying to be a park skier or like do tricks and stuff.
Sick. So if you were five, I assume you're around 25, right?
Yeah, I'm 25 on the dot.
Oh, sick. So this is probably then, yeah, 2004-ish,
Yeah,
2005.
2000. Yeah, probably around that time I got into skiing. I'm like I've been into skiing ever since I can remember, so pretty much my whole life, I would say.
Nice. What's the first park ski you remember owning?
I had the white and orange. This is the classic Solomon ski with like the orange, and yeah, they were like white and orange. That's the only thing I can remember. It's like a
Wait,
super super classic graphic.
is
I
that
feel
the,
like.
oh, like the yellow, like the 1080 with the spiral?
I don't think so. Uh, I've always tried to remember what they are, but I can't. They might be that it just some like could be just like a kid's graphic or something because they were like teeny tiny. Of course, I was just a little boy back then.
It's just like a Snowblade model, probably.
Yeah, something like that. No, can't find anything else. But no, it's not like any of the like. It's kind of like
'Cause, yeah, 2005
I
was.
think it's yeah, it's kind of like this one, but it was white. It was orange. Wait, bad picture. It's kind of like these ones, but it was orange. Can you see anything?
Oh, interesting, dude. I don't think I've ever seen those.
These say 1080 though.
Yeah, because I think they went 1080, then Suspect. I don't know. I was a snowboarder for the longest time, so I only started skiing like 2008 or 9.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't. You're
Oh
like,
yeah, I found them.
I was sick.
Uh, yeah, maybe I should buy them. They have them on eBay. These ones.
Oh wow, dude, I've never seen those. So for anyone listening on the podcast, it's just a really OG pair of Salomons. That's not the
Yeah, you can buy
design.
them. You can buy them
How much are they
on
selling for?
eBay for $150. Not too bad.
That's a pretty good deal. Are they like a meter
Yeah,
30 or like 130?
yeah, 131 at least
Oh,
now.
actually.
Yeah, that's probably what I was running when I was a kid.
Yeah. Yeah, you
Yeah,
probably good for
those were my
rails.
first pair. Yeah.
That's sick. Do you remember what your first ski crew was? Like, did you ever have a name or like, were you in the early
Mm,
days of YouTube when like that was a thing to just throw everything on there straight from the GoPro and hope for the best?
we actually started making. Now, when I think back about it and like see people making edits these days, still, I'm like, damn, we really actually did some like decent videos for being like 13 years old. They're still like all on YouTube. If you like put in my name in like 2013 or something, you're gonna find some like sick ass footy from like 10 years ago. So me and my homie Levi was a really dope skier. Also back then, he was really good at rails and stuff. And he's I still hang out with him, but he hasn't been skiing. He was filming for some of the first Forre movies also. I think he hasn't filmed. Yeah, For Real was maybe his last. He had some clips in For Real, but he was a dope skier, and me and him kind of started making videos together. We're best friends, and we skied together all the time. And we started making videos with him. He was fortunate enough to like get some have his parents got him some cameras and stuff and the GoPro, if I remember correctly, and we made some like pretty dope videos for being that young and like not just filming for the gram and stuff. We like made actual edits and stuff, and I don't think we really had a crew until we started 4A. We're just making videos like season edits and the classic.
Nice. Yeah, I did. I found some clips. I will admit they were under the
Yeah,
name Soider Man or like Spider Man.
yeah, that was just my own YouTube account.
Sick. And they're still up there. Way to not give.
Yeah,
They're good clips too. I was like, wow,
yeah. No, I
definitely better
think
tier than I was back then already.
yeah, no, I think they're pretty funny, and I don't feel like I need to take them down. There's nothing like too bad there that nobody's allowed to see or anything. It's just
No, I hate when people take stuff
young
down.
me skiing. Yeah,
Like I've seen like I feel Matej is a good example because he was on Instagram already, like pretty early. I just
yeah,
remember like the first clips I saw of him were just like this tiny kid doing the most insane rail tricks. Like he was on a box everywhere, but it was
yeah. No,
rails.
but people probably take them down and then they regret it when they are a little older because you have that phase where you think everything you used to do sucked, and then you have the phase where you just appreciate it and like just a learning curve.
Yeah, I mean everyone sucked at some point for sure. I think it's nice to have
Yeah,
out there because you can be like, wow, I actually got better at this stuff. Like,
yeah. Just fun to look at them.
right on. So you grew up in this town. You're 5 minutes away from like a super nice park. What is like the next chapter or the next kind of inflection point in your ski career that you can remember?
Mm,
Into high school or maybe before or later?
I think probably when I started to know these guys from who were like at the ski school in Ruka better, like Tuukka and Elias Syrjä.
Were you
And
going to the ski school in Ruka already?
no, most of my homies were going, but I wasn't going. Because it was more like if you were doing like comps and stuff, and I
Yeah.
was never really. I did like a couple comps, but maybe like 4 or 5. But it was just like never really my. So I met those guys better, and then I went to Ruka for the first time outside of a competition. I went there once to do a comp when I was like 14 or something, and then I went there when I was maybe like 16, just to like do the classic like preseason skiing and like partying and whatever. And then I met a bunch of those guys there, and we became. Or I think we like chatted with like Tuukka online before that and stuff because like he was doing like dope videos and stuff, and we were making like the Forre Instagram and whatever, and he thought it was sick, and then we kind of just like teamed up with those guys, and then they actually started making a movie without any of the Forre guys because they had their own thing called Crew back then. Pretty funny. And then I joined at some point. I was like, yeah, I want to film some street too, and I joined their filmings, and then we did the first, and then it ended up being under the Forre name, the first ever movie. It's called Pass 2. It's still we just uploaded back on the Forre YouTube. It was lost for many years. That's our first movie ever, which is also pretty good for being our first movie. I'm pretty hyped. We still have that project around also, and then everything just kind of happened from there. We realized that like we're decent at doing what we do, and like people like the movies, and it got a pretty good amount of views for being our first street movie, and then we just kept it going.
That's sick. What year did that all go down? The filming for the first street movie?
I think it was 2000, 2017, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, 2017.
Wow, kind of crazy. That's like 7 years ago now.
Yeah, very long time ago.
Sick. I want to get into that more, but I'm also just curious about this ski school. So, like, what is the ski school in Ruka, and like, what is even the process of applying, if you know at all?
I don't really know too much because yeah, I didn't go there. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's just like a ski high school where you yeah, just like you do normal high school and then you train skiing also.
Yeah, and just
And
rip
that's like
around
they're
Ruka.
huh?
You just rip around Ruka all day, I guess.
Pretty much. Oh yeah. No, I don't know any like details to or anything too much about it, but it's like the classic route to take for skiers. I feel like most of the Finnish skiers are have done the school. Most of the Forre crew also has, but I didn't do it.
Nice, right on. I'll find the dirt on it someday. Get the
Yeah,
insights into what's happening over at that school to make everyone throw down insane tricks in the dark and blizzards like constantly over there.
yeah, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much anybody else you would ask would probably know, but I haven't. I didn't go to the school.
Right on. And so you mentioned like Fora and the first film, but where does back to back triple come into play? Because I remember
Oh
that
yeah, that
at some
was
point years ago, but
yeah. Uh, that was just the name of the Instagram account for some years, and we knew we were called Forre. That was the crew name, or like Forre. But we just had that name for because we just started as like pretty much as a meme page or like shit posting with my homies, and then uh yeah, then we were like fuck, like people thought that was they thought they were like two different crews or something, and then we just changed the Instagram name also, and back-to-back triple is like our dark past, pretty much.
Did you leave any of that dirt still up? Like all the
I don't think we've ever deleted anything from the gram actually. So if it's like there's a bunch of funny stuff from like 2019 to 17 on that, or like 2019 to 16 probably on that Instagram account. Just like a bunch of random, just like funny stuff.
nice. If I scroll down, it's just a bunch of ski memes in Finnish or like
No, they're not memes, but just like funny, super epic little videos and like yeah. Back to when you could like film like videos straight to the gram and like not do like crazy reels with music and
right, yeah. Nice. Did anyone ever lace up a back-to-back triple?
I don't think from our crew, no.
Oh, damn. I feel you need to bring back the name and just post one back-to-back triple clip. Just
No, I
change.
think we have one there. One homie Atte, who was like a OG Forre guy. Never really filmed street. I think he has one clip in past two or something. But yeah, he did a triple in maybe like 2018 or something, and then we just mirrored it and posted it twice, and it was a back-to-back triple.
Sick. Okay, so the first movie is called Pass 2.
Yeah,
So PASS number
two.
2.
Yep.
What happened to Pass 1?
There was no pass. It's just like a word play in Finnish. Paskaksi.
What's that mean?
It means like so. Paska is shit, and paskaksi is kind of like fuck shit up or like break something or like something broke. So that's just the name. There's nothing else.
Sick. That name just like
Anything.
went from here to here on the coolness spectrum, which
Yeah, no, it's a pretty random name. It's a pretty random name if you don't know like the wordplay in Finnish, but
okay.
I don't even know who came up with the name. That's just what it was, and I'm happy it turned out to be that name.
So that's your first play out in the streets, essentially at that point. Like, had you filmed street skiing before that?
No, no, I haven't. I had like jib around with my homies when we were young in like some little park in the city, but no,
I
not
said,
like
were
filmed it.
the other people on the crew already pretty well versed in street skiing at that point?
I think it was most of the guys just first touch into street skiing.
Like, how
So
was that going for you, like going into your first street skiing experience? I mean, so many things come to mind. Like, how gnarly do you go? Like, what are the politics of street skiing? Are there other crews in
uh,
town that you're coattailing?
I think it kind of started after we watched the first Quiche Life movie, and then we realized that damn, like if these guys can do it, so like we could probably also, even though they were on a way higher level back then, but we just saw that they made like a DIY movie, like no budgets or crazy cameras, anything, and then we just kind of followed their steps, and then it was probably a pretty natural thing to all of us, or like most of us. I can't speak for everybody, but I don't think we had too many like big problems or issues with anything, and uh, yeah, that's probably how we ended up. Just it working out well for us because it was like a pretty natural thing for us to do, and everybody wanted to do it a lot. So we just kind of worked our ways, making it happen.
Nice. Do you remember your first street spot? Like how everything went down?
Yeah, the first clip I filmed for that movie was, I think it's like a ski slide 540 out from like a ledge,
Oh, that's sick.
like a pretty high ledge. I mean, I'm wearing a yellow hoodie. Pretty, I'm pretty hyped for that because that would still be a pretty cool clip. So it's like an actual legit street spot also, and I think everything worked out pretty nice. It's a trick I've always been pretty good at. So
Nice. Like what were some of your biggest unexpected just aspects of street skiing that you ran into as you started filming?
ah, can't, I don't know. I don't think there was anything crazy. Mm, I think it was just like small things that you learned through the years, but I don't think there was any like big, mishaps or anything. For as child as we are these days, but yeah, like I said, it was pretty natural, and we all kind of got the hook of it pretty quickly.
Nice. That's sick. That was so easy to get into. Like my
Yeah.
first time street skiing, I just remember learning like, oh, like aluminum rails, like don't hit those.
Oh yeah, true.
Or
Yeah, but
like,
no, that's just yeah. So, like I said, those are things you just learn by doing it more. And we watched a lot of street. We were like all super into like bunch and stuff. So we like kind of knew what like a dope spot is and like dope ways of filming and a lot.
nice. How would you hunt down your spots, especially for that first ski movie? Like, what was your
Uh,
process?
Probably kind of same as these days. Maybe these days I definitely know more what my style of skiing is, like what style of spots there are. But then we saw like a rail, and we're like, yeah, somebody should hit that rail. And then we don't really have a lot of like super crazy interesting spots. Maybe in that movie, as I can remember, at least myself not. And then yeah, we just the homie Tuukka who filmed most of it and made the video and made a bunch of the Forre movies. In the beginning, he had a pretty good eye for like everything, like visually and spots back then, even back then. So I think he probably helped me a lot out with that stuff.
Nice. Did you also have like any concerns about just hitting spots that had been hit by other crews already or anything
Uh,
like that?
I wouldn't say so because there's definitely been more crews now. Yeah, I don't think we were too worried because we were like pretty on the point with like watching videos and stuff. So we kind of knew if there was something had been done, and there was way less crews back then, and way less crews before us than there is now. I feel like so. Yeah, it's easier to find spots, and not that many people traveled. Of course, like London and stuff, not to England, but not as much these days, I would say. So yeah, same as these days. You find spots and somebody's hit it maybe or not. But if you watch, try to watch videos from Finland, then you'll know what's been done.
Yeah, for sure. Like I feel I was in Salt Lake for a while and like every spot you pull up to, you're just like, yeah, I've seen this hit every
Yeah,
like there's probably a lip on it already too because someone hit it like yesterday, you know. It's
yeah.
just
No, that's kind of how it is in Helsinki too. But we also live here, so we know most of the stuff. Who's been here? Who's done what? So.
yeah, of course. And I guess looking back on kind of your first ski movie and where you're at now, are there maybe like two or three specific aspects of your process for street skiing that you can pick out that you're doing very differently and that you think have just improved the quality of your movies and your setups throughout the years?
Uh, Probably like everything a little bit, but like I said, the first movie we made wasn't horrible either. It's just like on a different level. So I think we just maybe just finding my own style of what I'm like good at in the streets, my own style of skiing, and then just maturing, getting older, and like realizing more what's like cool and stuff, and like just finding myself as a person. So it's kind of like can show it in my skiing also more. And uh, I don't really know. We've also just been doing it for a long time. I would say that's the number one that's like shaped me, and that's like why like why we make the movies we make me do, we used to do and like why I ski the way I ski and so on, because it's just been like me learning throughout the years. So of course still learning about stuff, but
Yeah,
yeah,
like you smooth out a lot of the edges kind of over the years just from best practice and just getting out there and improving bit by bit kind of.
yeah, exactly.
Right on. So, if what are all the Forre movies, I guess, in chronological order at this point?
Oh, we had Pass Two, then we did Foreign Movie, then we did For Real, Forgive, Formula, Cast, Foreign Movie Two, and then the next one.
Does Wasteland kind of count in the mix of
Yeah.
things, or is that?
That no, that I wouldn't call it a foreign. It's like just like a little one video. I was just part of it.
Yeah,
But those
right.
other ones are all like foreign movies. And yeah, Wasteland is like the newest. So I've like filmed for like eight like long movies, and then also filmed for like a couple of different arsenic projects and some videos I've made myself in the recent years and stuff. So
Yeah, we can get into that too. I guess when I think about your street skiing, I've seen I think all the Fora films. Like your
yeah,
shots always stand out as just really really big, like
yeah,
super sick, not like getting stuck on top of a like a blue spike thing and almost dying,
yeah, yeah. That was scary as fuck.
or just like other aspects. Like what? I guess how would you define your skiing and like what are you trying to put forward with your street skiing and how did that all come about for you?
Uh, I think it's mainly just because I've never been like a too technical skier. I've never been good at like spinning both ways, like doing trick switch and like doing jumps and stuff. So then I feel like I never like did any like I never had like a coach or anything. So I just like found my own skiing and like whatever I maybe like thought was the easiest way to start like keep skiing and like doing tricks. And then I feel like the same thing happened when I started skiing street, was also that I like didn't have any technical tricks and like was scared of doing like a switch lip on or something, and I realized that I'm like not scared of them, and like kind of I can see like the logical way in like hitting a big spot too, in the same way as people see like a logical way in like doing like a lip two on a rail. But I just ended up taking that route and then realizing that it's like that's like kind of my style, and then it kind of grew on me, and people started realizing it too, people around me, and then people helped me pick out spots, and there maybe like Arturi, maybe he's like, yeah, this is like Harold's spot, like it's his style of skiing, and but yeah, that's kind of just how it happened. It just yeah, that was just the easiest way for me.
That's sick. Like, do you remember a first massive spot that you hit and got the clip and just saw it and you're like, yeah, this is like the direction I want to take with my skiing now?
No, I don't think it was like one spot. It was just like slowly. Like I hit like not big spots, but I hit some like bigger-ish spots, even in the first movie. Or not really, but maybe in the second movie or something. And then just slowly, you know, how everything goes. I just slowly like learned that that's my style of skiing, and then it just became like more of like a thing, being like a stunt man maybe, more than like a technical skier.
Yeah, yeah. I feel you could be filming with like Stepped if they were still making movies nowadays.
Yeah, maybe.
Um, so I guess when you're scoping out a spot that's particularly big or anything, like what goes through your mind? Like what's your inspiration for seeing something? How do you calculate the spot? Like at what point are you like, yeah, this could work?
I feel like I can know it pretty easily these days, just because been doing it for a kind of long time, and sometimes I might have a trick or like a type of a spot that I want to hit. Maybe it's like a wall ride with like a bump in it, or like something, or a rail to a wall to a whatever, and then sometimes I just try to find the perfect spot for a trick, and then sometimes I just find a perfect spot for that I wasn't even looking for. Kind of how finding any spots are, but of course, I like to like look higher up on roofs and stuff and try to like find some cool visions in like different type of big spots also, and not just always do the same style.
Dude, I was gonna say, I bet like the way I would look at a spot is just through this like 100 millimeter narrow lens, or like the X3 on an iPhone or something. And then you probably
Yeah,
show up with the wide angle, like 180,
yeah,
a 360 camera view
yeah,
up
maybe.
there.
Yeah, no. Yeah, it's just everybody, everybody has their own style, and everybody knows exactly what they want to ski in, or not always, but people have their own styles and just own way of looking at stuff and finding stuff. But we also have, which is pretty nice, that we have. It's pretty common that you can get up on almost any roof, at least if it's like not like a housing building. So it's easy to find like rooftop spots and stuff.
Yeah, I was gonna say, people are always on roofs in Finland. Like, is it just a low bust rate? Can you just pull up with a ladder and climb stuff, and like that's okay? Or
It's, I guess it's a bit of everything. People kind of mind their own business here, and it's people are usually pretty nice and understanding, and it's like a winter sports country also. So maybe people think it's cool. I don't really know, but we've gotten away with a bunch of stuff, and even if we get busted, it's usually pretty chill. So we're not too
sick.
worried about stuff.
Is there a biggest spot that you've hit that you have like highlighted in your head that you can pinpoint?
Maybe the blue thing, the opener in Formula, my part opener, or the spot that I hit now for level one, my ender in the level one move was pretty big also. Uh, yeah, the ender of Formula also, the window drop pretty big.
Yeah, that's a good
They're
example.
all maybe like the same.
How big of a gap have you hit, like just from point A to point B, do you think? Like in the streets?
No, no idea. It's more of like a drop usually than a gap.
Yeah. Or drop to tranny.
I
I'm
don't know,
like,
maybe like 10 meters, 12 something. I haven't never like measured or anything.
yeah, I guess how would you? Just like, hey,
Yeah.
guys, let me get the tape measure out
would
real
be
quick.
would be nice. Would be interesting to measure something sometimes, but doesn't that's not really, the point of it anyways.
Yeah, for sure. And like, I've always wondered if for these bigger spots, do you have I'll call it like a safe way to measure like speed and impact and just kind of do the math for like, how do I do this without getting worked?
Uh I don't think there's really a safe way. Most of the spots you just kind of have to try it. But I think it's just that I'm pretty experienced, and I just like kind of know how to how fast to go, how to do the first try, so I don't get fucked, and just kind of just it's kind of all in my head. Just have all this info in my head, and I just like people do like speed checks on big jumps also. You
Yeah.
just kind of know how fast to go. Some spots definitely, like the ender, the drop in Formula through the window. I went way too fast the first try. I think it's in the movie, and I like fully fly over the landing, but didn't get hurt luckily. Even though fell pretty much down on flat. But yeah, there's not really any way,
Sick.
any
Yeah,
safe way.
I've always kind of loved that about our sport. Like, I think back to some of the, I think it was like a level, or no, Poor Boys movie from way back when, where they just have this huge park jump. And there's really no
Yeah,
good sign. Like, this is already after the days of getting like towed in by a snowmobile into a jump, which was already insane
yeah,
in and of itself. But
yeah,
now they're like, hey, we should drop in from here for this, 100-foot jump.
yeah,
Everyone's like, who wants to try it first? And Tim Durkee will be like, hey, so the kids gave me $1, so I'm gonna try it.
yeah.
Yeah, I hope that doesn't go away. I still think that's kind of a fun culture of like just pulling up to the park, be like, hey, does anyone know the speed? Like, oh, it's probably
Yeah,
there.
yeah. I hope they don't find like a machine for it or something.
Yeah. Do you remember when they tried to launch those goggles that gave you the speedometer in your, like there was a little screen in the goggle that could tell you how
No.
fast you're going? And one of the use cases was like, hey, in case you're worrying you're not gonna like clear the jump or you're gonna die, like use that. Like no one ever purchased them. They couldn't sponsor everyone. Like no one wanted anything to do with it.
No idea. I don't think I've ever heard about that.
Yeah, I think it was like Zeiss or Zeil or something like that. It's probably like 10 years
Sure.
ago now. But yeah, it did not.
Yeah. Sounds pretty fire though. Maybe I'll go find me up there.
Yeah, you could probably use the Apple Vision Pros. Those look like ski goggles.
Yeah. A little,
Some
little too
AR.
expensive, maybe.
Get sponsored, I guess. Yeah, maybe Apple
Yeah.
moves into free skiing. Um, dude, so tell me about your crew too. So the Forre crew, like with the movies over the years, has it always been kind of the same crew and the same filmers, or has it evolved over the years? Like, who do you think are the main staples, like keeping it together?
Uh, Me definitely.
Right
But
on.
it's yeah. So in the beginning, it was a little different crew. I guess some of the homies, most of them are still around. They're still like the staple guys also. And yeah, so Tuukka was one of the kind of founders, or we founded the Foray crew before him, but he was kind of the guy who like started making videos and edits and actually doing something besides just like shit posting. And he did the first well 4 movies, I think. Yeah, he did past 2 Forre movie for real and filmed for Give also. So yeah, he was the main filmer, the guy who like made like edited, filmed, and like made some park videos also. He made Four in Ruka 1 and Four in Ruka 2. Uh and with some well, he's still around, he's still a good help. He's just like doing other stuff with his life, like school and working and stuff. So he uh hasn't he's not like super active in like filming and doesn't like push himself in skiing anymore that much anymore, but he still comes on trips and like comes to ski Ruka with us and like hangs out and stuff, which is super fun. So and then we had Matthias has always been around, Joona has always been around, they're still filming, they're filmed since the beginning. And then Elias has always been around. He maybe hasn't been able to film as much, but he's always been around like a part of the crew, and he's like done competitions and still doing comps, and nowadays he's filming more, which is super fun. Last couple of years he's filmed a little bit more, and he has some clips in the older movies also, but not really. Never had a part or anything, but still been a key guy in the crew. And then we have some other homies like Jussi and Antti. They haven't filmed as much for the four, or they'll never really film for the four movies, but they've always been like part of the crew and like the homie crew. And nowadays they have filmed a bit more with me when I've made these smaller projects. And then later for Formula, which was so far probably our biggest movie and like biggest movie back then. Also, for that movie, our Arttu came in and he took over the filmer, the video guy role, and then also Mainio Maino and Emil joined us. We were like, we had seen their stuff. They had their own crew and stuff, and then we were like, you guys should join us and like try to make like get your skiing more out there and like make a part or something, and which was super nice because they're super good and also really good skiers. And then Lowry came in for that one also. He's always kind of been a homie part of the crew also, and been around and so on. And then from there, it's just kind of evolved into more of like a Artus vision, the movies, and then Anni came around also. She we started seeing her more. She's always like been a part of the comp scene and like the Finnish national team and stuff, but we never really knew her well before the. Did she film for? Did she film for Cast? I might be lying. I think Cast was the first movie she filmed.
Yeah, I saw her part in Cast on the Thousand.
Yeah, true. Facts. Yeah. Yeah, so that's she came around for that movie. We just thought it would be nice to ask her if she was interested in filming, and she was super down, and she was like, she's been super down ever since, and she's done really well, and we all like teamed up and helped her film her first like street footage and show her some nice spots and help her out, and turned out being really cool, and she's done some good skiing for the movies, and then. Yeah, then it's kind of stayed that way since maybe since Cast. Yeah, Formula was a little different, and now it's kind of been the same for a couple of years regarding the movies.
That's sick. It's like there's so many people you listed off.
Yeah, there's a bunch of homies, and it goes way deeper also. But they're just like a lot of them are just like homies. Which like for still like a homie crew, and we just happen to make movies. That's how I would put it. Of course, known for making movies and like videos and stuff, but it's all just like when we go to Ruka, we just have and yeah, Demo also key role. She's been forget about Demo, but he hasn't filmed as much lately. He had some good clips in Cast also. But he had some years where he didn't film. He hadn't any clips. He didn't have any clips in Formula. He had a little bit less clips in Cast before that. But he's also been around since the first movie. He's one of the homies who always just on the comes on the trips, and we always have the same for a homies on when we go to Ruka or something or like do events and stuff. So. It's just like a little community of ours.
That's awesome that you guys have like that whole community and like friend group around your film project versus I know a lot of other film crews are just like scattered crews and they get some budget to like do a shoot and then they send it over and then it's like a whole mishmash of shots in the end, which works I guess to a degree, but
yeah, no, and yeah, we're all close, but we don't like hang out year round. But that also might have something to do with we like spend a lot of time together in the winter, so you kind of need some time off that. But we're still really good homies and like hang out with like Minio and Elias a bunch in the summers too, and all the other guys also.
right on. So I guess, is there, like, within the dynamics of the crew, is there sort of like a Josh Berman type head honcho who is kind of like carrying the movie and has a vision and kind of like unites everyone? Or like, how are the responsibilities kind of divided throughout people? Because I assume some people probably chip in more or film more or like whatever it is.
I think like movies. Like the bigger movies wise or like bigger productions like under the foreign name are like Artus thing these days, but then I feel like I've been the main guy throughout the years for like organizing stuff and events and like social media and also getting sponsors and stuff and making things happen. But I think Arcto has done a lot for like them, like at least in the like last season and stuff. And I wasn't involved as much. He's done a lot for like making the movie happen and stuff. But yeah, a lot of stuff. I've definitely been running a lot of stuff, but everybody does their own part, of course, and like sometimes people do more, sometimes people do less, and it's always just works
Yeah,
pretty nicely.
for sure. And so, like, how would you break down your responsibilities with it? I mean, you're writing, you're getting sponsors, you're like doing a bunch of
It's
stuff.
just kind of, I don't think it's never been like super proper or anything. So I feel like
Yeah.
every now and then I just try to make something happen or like do an event, and then I just like try to do something else, and I hit up the homies, and I'm like, yo, like I'm trying to do this event. Like, do you guys want to help out? And then everybody who has time and interested are interested, just join and try to make something happen. But we don't really have anything official like you do this, you do this. I would say it's just kind of like if you feel like you want to do something, just like we just like to use the name Forre to do stuff, and then it's just like a community of homies. So if somebody like wants to make a video and go through Ruka and get some tickets there, like hit up, they can like hit up and something and like try to make it happen.
Right on. And you mentioned sponsorship also for film. That I feel it's like one of the biggest veils over a lot of the ski world that it's just really hard to debunk unless you're in it or like having these conversations already with people who are in it. Like, I guess I'm curious.
Mm.
First off, like, who do you think are your biggest supporters for Four Out? Who do you know are just over the years? And then, if you have any tips for people out there who are trying to get a project put together, like trying to get funding, like just any thoughts or tips on like how to get that message out and get support for just doing cooler stuff in the streets.
Uh, Main supporters definitely Arsenic been pretty much since the beginning. Surface, huge supporter also gave me and my new pro model. So
Yeah.
personal support, also sending skis to homies, shut up Surface and like funded movies, made edits and funded edits and whatever. Level one in the more recent years supported a bunch, gave us some budget, has flown us out to the premieres, uh, helped us get sponsors. Uh, of course, Ruka has always supported us, more in like helped us, ski, give us accommodation and like tickets and stuff. And
Yeah.
I think those are probably the main biggest ones. And then like some personal sponsors have also supported movies and stuff. But yeah, not gonna name those. They're not really my piece of cake. And then I don't really know. I don't think we've ever been super good at getting funding either. And then also getting funding for street skiing coming from a country like Finland is like pretty hard, I would say, just
Yeah.
because a lot of brands are like old fashioned and they're like, we don't have any market in Finland, like where we can't do this, and we're like, okay, whatever, like guys definitely don't know how the internet works these days, but we've tried. Some of the years we've tried super hard and we've gotten like decent amounts, but like nothing really that would cover more than, you know, briefly like just cover something, and then we've like sold merch and stuff to make more.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's maybe just the best. I don't know. Like if you, I would say like if I would give advice for somebody who like is interested in starting to film, make movies and stuff, I would probably just say like forget about getting any support before you made like a couple good movies, because it's you don't do it like that's just like a help that you get when you like proved yourself That's how I see it. And you're not doing it because to get money, and you're in like that should be a reason. And like nobody's definitely getting any money from like budgets. Like budgets always go to like filmers and like Airbnbs and like foods and like gas and stuff like that. So yeah, I think a lot of people these days focus a lot on like sponsors and like wanting. Of course, I did that when I was a kid too, but I like nobody ever wanted to sponsor me because I was just a little piece of shit back then. But I think people focus too much maybe on like they think they like made it when they have a sponsor. Like, no, I'm a good skier. Like, a pretty pair of skis, but then like I didn't have a ski sponsor until I filmed like four full parts pretty much, and then I got or 4 or 5 full parts, and then I was like using my homie self skis, and then I got some free pairs of skis, and I feel like that's kind of a way to go, and then to if you want to like learn more about the culture and not just trying to like prove yourself, and like you should just find your place through your like skiing, and if somebody really likes you and thinks you deserve it, they're gonna definitely hit you up.
Yeah, I hear you on that one. It's interesting how people approach sponsorship from different ways, and I always thought like the biggest pain point I would see with street skiing and needing sponsorship and funding before getting into it is just the financial brute cost.
Yeah,
So if you're in a place like Helsinki, I think you guys are super fortunate to just have all these crazy spots and low bus rates and like the ability it looks like to ski in like downtown Helsinki, I guess, which is chill there, which
pretty
is
much.
insane.
Yeah,
It's and I've spoken to homies from Helsinki before, and they always told me like street skiing was more approachable than park skiing because it was cheaper than
yeah,
going to a resort. It was just right outside. It was on your own time. But for
yeah.
uh-huh.
But but also I see your point that it was easy for us, but also like if you really want to do it, you can just work in the summer and like save up some money, and that's how we did it also. Like
Exactly.
during film when we were filming for Formula, I was working every day at like a like a shipping company, some shitty job, and then when I got off work, I like drove straight to some spots. So I still had, even though I wasn't traveling around the world, I still had like pay for my rent and stuff. And then we also like when we were young, we went to Quebec because we didn't have any snow here, and we just like worked some like shitty jobs to be able to buy some flight tickets and like get an Airbnb. And we went all the way to Canada to get like 5 clips for the movie or something. So it's more like a
Yeah.
passion thing. Like if you really want to make a little movie or like go skiing with your friends and go on a trip or something, you can get a job. And of course, if you're like lucky enough, there's gonna be people supporting you. But I wouldn't think that's like the approach shouldn't be to get funding before doing stuff, but doing stuff first and then kind of proving yourself and like getting funding because you deserve to have you know
Yeah, 100%. And dude, the point I was gonna get to as well is like even you might be in a place that's like almost favorable for street skiing. It's
mm,
probably such a hustle, like you mentioned, to even get it done, right? Because there's so many costs that go into just getting out there. Like you have to work, you have to put in so many hours, like you mentioned, gas, food. Like if you want to even just drive around, or like you need
yeah,
shovels. I mean, there's so much. So if you're like in
yeah,
a place that doesn't even have access to that, it's just more of a barrier to entry. Are you booking a flight? Do you need an
yeah,
Airbnb?
of course.
Like
And yeah,
stuff like that. So even if you have the passion, but you're some kid in like a suburb in New Jersey, like it gets really complicated to like make it happen. Whereas like if you
yeah,
drop that kid
of
off in
course.
Helsinki, maybe magic would ensue.
Yeah, of course we got, but that's also probably a reason why like do is because it's like the thing here, pretty much. If I was living in like somewhere else, I probably would maybe be a comp skier or something. That's just we kind of just ended up doing what was what the culture here was to like street skiing, like Nipwits and Quiche Life, and those guys were doing it, and we're like, you know, this is just what people do here in Finland.
Yeah, that's very true. I remember
Like we don't like uh we don't have too many backcountry skiers, and I've never skied backcountry, and that also makes sense because like the highest mountain here is like I don't know, like 900 meters or something. Like there's not any backcountry, there's not really any places for that, so that's why I didn't end up being a backcountry skier either. But maybe if I was in the Alps, I would probably ski backcountry,
Yeah, exactly. That's very
like a
true.
natural thing for us to do here.
Do you have a relationship with the other crews in like the Helsinki area? Because I mean, you mentioned Quiche Life, Nipwits. I think there are probably some snowboard crews out there too.
Yeah, no, yeah, probably pretty much to everybody. It's because like it's a pretty small sport, and then it's a kind of super small place also. Yeah, actually, one of the Kishwa homies, Antu, is my roommate, and
Nice.
know all of those guys, and I know the Nipwits guys are definitely older than we are, but one of them is my boss at my summer job building the pump tracks, and I've just met those guys through the years from like Skierda and stuff, and like they've been at some spots to chill and hang out and like help us out. So it's like a pretty nice community. Even though they're way older, they still like show support, and like we all help each other in our own ways. And snowboarders too. Know probably most of them who are like doing like filming videos and like hitting street spots and stuff. And it's a pretty nice community where we all help each other out to find spots and like sleep on the floor if you need to and everything. So which is easy and makes everything easier also.
That's great that you don't have like a gatekeepy street community because they're
No,
definitely out
no.
there. Like,
Yeah, but maybe if you're an asshole and you're not from here, so people might not want to help you. But I feel like Finnish people are pretty nice and helpful for people who come from anywhere in the states and stuff. And I've helped my homies out who came from the states before, or like Sweden or something, and they help me out when I go there and stuff. So
nice. I mean, I'll say it here. If you're ever in Innsbruck, hit me up.
yeah,
I'll be in Finland. So,
yeah, yeah. We have a lot of floor space here.
hell yeah. Man, I want to ask you about skiing street in other spots too, but one thing I really want to make sure I ask and that I don't forget is tell me about the level one deal. Like, how did that come into play? How do you work with them? It's super sick to see. I mean, I've been following you guys on Instagram. Okay, funny actually admission that I should tell you. If I open up Instagram on my computer, it opens to the first
Yeah,
ever Instagram thing that I searched on my computer, and it's always the Forre for Life page, which is really random. And I just
that's pretty
realized
sick.
that opening Instagram to DM you before this, I was like, Forre. And it was, am I
Yeah,
DMing them? I was like, no, no, wait.
yeah,
um,
yeah.
so you guys have been around for a while, and it's, yeah, I mean, obviously your movies have been so sick, and it's great to see kind of like a well-deserved spot filming with Level One, who for me have been like them and Poor Boys were always like the two big juggernauts in the ski filming space, at least early on. So yeah, just how did it all go down?
Uh, so I think it started from where did it start? I think they hit us up after Formula. They
Hmm.
hit us up, or I think yeah, maybe they've always. I think they mentioned somebody talked about something in a podcast, maybe about the movie before Formula or something. I can't remember. And then they were joking about something. Can't remember how it exactly was, but we kind of there was some motion between us and them, and then after Formula. I think they probably hit us up to ask if we want to show our movie on their movie tour.
Who is they? Is there anyone in particular running that?
Probably Connor. I think give us like Connor. Yeah, Connor. Connor sucks. And then, but he, him and Josh probably they were interested in showing if we wanted to show our movie at the movie premieres, and then they also ask if we want to like collab in some way, and like if they because they like that's when they started doing also like Jake's projects and like
Yeah.
Parker's and stuff. But I guess those guys been doing it for longer, but supporting and like making not making their own movies, but like having producing smaller videos, and so they asked if we want to join, and then we said that yeah, like it's interesting, and then we started working together with Level One and we worked with Level One for cast and Forre Movie too, and then me and Artie went there for the cast, the premieres also there, and then I went for the Forre Movie also, the Forre Movie tours, and then I saw the Level One guys here and there at Hood and stuff, and then me and Oski and Parker were last summer, not this summer, but the summer before at Hood with like Level One as the Level One crew and like Windell's camp and stuff, and then I heard then at some point they started talking about making a movie, and then I think I heard from Dakota Canal that they asked him if he wants to film for the movie, and then I just joined the talk, and I was like interested in what they were doing, and then yeah, felt pretty like casual going into that because I had skied with Dak or like knew Dak pretty good from before. I stayed at Dak's house last summer in Salt Lake for like 3 months. Right, Dax and Dax, Wolf, and Sanchez house actually, but yeah, stayed there. And so it felt pretty neutral to be filming with Dak, and then Oski joined also. I kind of tried to push for that to have Oski join, and then I knew Parker was the guy in charge, and I'm a big fan of Parker, of course, and he's also a good friend of mine. So it felt pretty like an exciting project, and then filming also just doing something new and filming with like a new filmer that I haven't filmed from before felt like an interesting way to go, instead of doing the same thing over and over. It's pretty fresh, like a fresh start, new side project thing.
Yeah, and it was sick to watch too, dude. I saw it on a big screen in Innsbruck. There was a movie premiere
Oh, nice.
organized by the Legs of Steel guys.
That's nice. I didn't know they had one there.
Yeah, it was funny because I think it went live on YouTube the same day. I was like, oh no, I can't watch it. Like, wait tonight for the theater.
Yeah, that's the style you want to see at a premiere.
Nice. And yeah, it was cool to see Oski in that as well. Just like a
Yeah,
bunch of old lads. Like, it was such a cool mix of riders, I thought.
yeah. I think that was kind of part. It was kind of like Parker's wish in the whole project, and that's what he wanted to have like some younger and some older guys. And I also spent Oski was in Finland for like 3 months, and then we spent a couple more weeks together in the US. So I spent like 3.5 months, pretty much the whole winter with Oski, first filming for the Arsenic video, and then Level One, and then we did Do Tour together and super sessions at Sugarbush. So it was kind of like a fun thing to share a part with Oski also, because memory of that winter of spending the whole winter with Oski together.
Yeah, and like from a viewer standpoint too, it's so cool to see guys like you or him rip who like I think people who've been around in skiing for a while have seen you both like just kind of come up in the ranks. Then in the same movie just have Chris
Yeah,
ripping his like Bio 10 blunt and you're just like, oh, he still got it.
yeah, no, yeah, yeah. I think it's a pretty fresh fresh movie and a pretty cool project from Level One.
So, what's the difference in process of filming with Level One versus filming with the Forre crew?
Uh, I guess it's at the end of the day, it's all kind of the same. You know, it's always like filming straight is usually just like the same. Uh, Same of doing, but of course it's like different with other crews and like maybe not knowing as well what type of personalities people have while doing that because people, sometimes it's like gets pretty tense or somebody could be a little sad or mad or anything at spots. So filming with 4A, of course, it's different and easier because I know exactly how people act at spots and like what their style of skiing are and like how they're gonna react if they crash or not get their trick or how much some people don't want any like support or like any help and some people need a lot of help and like take
Yeah.
all the help they can. So it's just kind of got to relearn about learn stuff about people and how they act and like how they film. But everything ended up going pretty smoothly, and we didn't have no big fights or anything at least. So of course, there's always bad, good and bad days, but I think it was just everything. It's pretty much just like a fun, easy going.
Yeah, it's funny you mention that. I feel no one ever brings up the tension of street skiing, of just like the
Yeah,
nerves, the battles, the shot that you didn't get, or like the trick that you didn't land the way you wanted it to, and then like
yeah, oh
someone
yeah,
gets hurt and like the energy is like shot.
yeah, yeah. No, I feel yeah. I was just in Stockholm and at a premiere that Suede put on, and they showed the new movement video with Hugo and Oliver and Alexian Seaver and who else? Probably missing somebody, but yeah. And that movie showcased. It was a really good movie, and it kind of showcased the good and the bad sides of street skiing. Eye-opening video.
Nice. I'll have to catch that one. I haven't seen it yet. Is it on YouTube?
Yeah. No, I don't think it's dropped yet. They just had the premiere, so probably somewhere soon.
Nice. Yeah, probably by the time this podcast drops. What's the name of it? Plug.
Uh, I think it was Anxiety Threshold or something.
Nice.
Yeah,
Sweet.
probably fucked it up, but yeah, find it on their Instagram.
People find it. I'm not worried.
Yeah.
Right on. And then as a writer for Level One, did you feel like you had like did you kind of have like a red carpet or like premium experience riding with Level One? Like more budget, like a nicer winch, whatever it is, like a blowtorch for a lip? Or do you feel it was like on par with kind of your setup that you have back home?
Mm, no, I wouldn't say it was anything a lot fancier. We had a nice winch though because we borrowed the O3P electric winch, but I wouldn't say it was anything fancier. Of course, I didn't feel, I didn't have to find. It was nice just being a skier, a part of a project instead of like being more of like a producer
Right.
and like running more errands. But now I just kind of got to ski and not worry about anything else. So that was a nice switch in the style of making a video. Just yeah, not having to worry about getting budgets and booking Airbnbs and stuff.
Nice.
But otherwise, I wouldn't say I don't think ski movies anymore get huge budgets and stuff. So we didn't have any helicopters and champagne for this
True.
either.
Remember the
Maybe one
days
day.
of like, hey, we have a park shoot, the heli's on the way, there's a red camera in it, you get three hits
Yeah,
each, good luck. Now it's like, hey, here's a drone, done.
yeah, yeah. I think it's yeah. I don't think we really need any helicopters either. But yeah, maybe one day somebody's gonna make a big movie with a lot of money and can do something cool. But no, for now it was a good time, but nothing crazy fancy.
Sick. And do you have like a standout personality from your level one shoots? Like someone maybe you didn't know before and you just met them.
Uh,
Wow, this person is like something else, like sick.
I didn't know Owen. I had met him, but I didn't know him from before. Ended up being a really good guy, easy to work with, good understanding filmer, and I feel like I hadn't I knew everybody from before quite well. Also, I didn't know Taylor super well, but I also knew her from before. Uh, Parker, of course, one of the funniest guys. He was a really fun guy to work with, and just having him in like Finland and Helsinki and like going partying with him, and he's one of the best guys to be around. It was nice to I've like skied with him before, and like I've seen him around and like hang out like, but it was nice to like get to actually bond more and like hit some spots together and help him out. And like he was also like, because he hasn't filmed that much street, and also he hasn't filmed street in like 10 years, so he definitely like will need, I wouldn't say needed help, but he was like asking us stuff and like making sure he's doing like cool tricks and everything. So it was pretty fun to like act like I knew better than him, even though he's like been around for way longer and done more stuff. But it was fun filming
Yeah.
with Parker.
Yeah, shout out to him. When I saw
Yeah,
his
big
name
shout
in the
out.
movie, I was like, "Oh, is he like filming some big line?" He's like, "No, no, he's doing street." I was like,
Yeah, no, his part was definitely the best part. My, yeah, crazy seeing him like hitting some like Helsinki street spots, and then hitting big lines in AK and stuff. So he did it all. He's the
"Yeah,
master.
yeah, truly, yeah." Shout out, go watch Wasteland Level One on YouTube, which is luckily
Yep.
very easy to find. I have a question for you too. You mentioned like working with Owen was really cool because he was just easy to work with. Like, what makes a filmer easy to work with for a skier? Like, what are the qualities that you would want to look for?
Uh, I think just like a good person, like number one, of course, and then somebody who's on point, that they're not like running around losing all their shit, and then also just like somebody you can trust be like getting a good clip and not being like, damn, like I don't think that angle is really that good, because that happens also. But somebody you can trust that they do a good work, and then somebody who's also like super supportive, and like he feels the same, even though you both like filmer and skier are doing very different things. And but somebody who is supportive and like has mutual can share like mutual feelings. If you're like getting bombed out or something, they're supportive, and like you feel like they're more than just standing behind the camera, but they're like part of the progress. And
Yeah, I totally agree. I think the big standouts to me are always like, can you find a filmer who's as committed to the shot as you are and is passionate about getting the visuals right, like the angles and everything, versus someone who's just like there to be like, oh, I got you on your shot, where it's like our shot, even though they're not in it. I think that was always a big one. And then a second one was always, especially for street skiing, are you working with someone who understands lighting? Like, are they going to be
yeah,
able to like switch out a lens, put lights in the right place, and
yeah,
understand how
of
that's going to
course.
happen? Because you're at night a lot of the time too.
Yeah. And then it was like also, you know, yeah, that's super important, but that's kind of what usually people expect you to be, able to do those things and like understand those, because it's kind of like your job at the spot. But then also a filmer who you can like, because of course, I'm not like a filmer, but I've also made like worked a lot with filmers and like made a lot of videos. So I also kind of know how things work. So a filmer who you can be like, hey, like maybe we should try this angle instead, and and they're not like, yeah, dude, I know better. I'm a filmer because I also know what a good clip looks like, even though I'm not filming it. So somebody who you can just like co-work with. It's like a team effort and make it nice.
Yeah, totally. I like that you mentioned that, like someone who's willing to hear you out on it.
Yeah,
Also someone who has all the like knowledge and experience of all the things that have gone wrong. Like the battery died. Don't worry, I have three more. Like SC's
yeah,
full. Don't worry, right
yeah,
here, you know?
yeah. Of course, but sometimes you don't have a battery, and that's like just I would never get mad at anybody for that. But
No, of
it's
course, yeah.
we're all there as a team, and then everybody does their part, and it's nice when everything works out. But it's like it's just like street skiing at the end of the day. It's nothing too bad if something goes wrong. There's always another day.
Yeah, for sure. And it's cool that street skiing is like such a big part of your personal ski career. Like it's really nice to see. I think you
Yeah,
probably also do events, right? Like you mentioned it.
yeah,
The Fora Open comes to mind. I don't know how involved with that you are or anything else, but
yeah. That's that's definitely my shit. Yeah, we
nice.
we've done I don't know 3 or of those. I've usually been the main guy behind that, but we've done it as a group at the like the actual event. But I've always liked to like host stuff and make things happen. So we've
Yeah.
done those, and then we also have the street rail jam, which is maybe more of my favorites. The mega sessions we've done, yeah, 3 years in a row now, just like a
Yeah, that's
street
like
rail.
so sick. Well, for the
Yeah,
people who don't know, do you want to maybe just kind of like give a walkthrough of like both
yeah, of
events
course.
and just the format, kind of your involvement with it, and how they've been going?
Yeah, so the Forre Open has been like a spring event at Ruka, and it's always been a part of this bigger, like more like a party event called Spring Break, which they've been doing forever at Ruka, and we've just like co-hosted our own little event in the mix of that, which is just like we built some park features and some we've done like some mini pipe sessions there too, and like have some maybe some little premieres and like little parties there, and then the mega sessions is a street trail event that we have in here in Helsinki, and we usually have done it. It's my birthday week usually, so it's like end of February, and that's just me and my homie Antti, used to be my roommate, came up with 1 year, and then now later it's been like me and Antti and Jussi were just like a group of 3 homies, really close homies. There are some of the original 4 guys also. We've just been doing it for 3 years now, and it's like a fully DIY. We've never had any budgets for it, and just like go to the rail, like put up a speaker. We've had a grill every year. We've given out some sausages, and we've got some drinks from like Monster, and just like give out some drinks and some sausages, and just like have a speaker and just have the homies shred, and it's always been a good time.
Yeah. How do you win the street event? Like, what's the can you win it, or do you just get free sausages and drinks? Like,
Yeah,
what's the format
you
of the
can win.
whole
For the
day?
first year, we always do. We just have some arsenic has given up. We like giving out some arsenic stuff, some surface skis and stuff, and we always
Sick.
just give out some stuff if we have something to give out. And I don't know. Sometimes we always have an overall winner, and then we just give out if like somebody has an epic crash or like crazy trick. And first year, this homie Apo, who's also filmed for the Forre movies. Yeah, shout out Apo also. He's been a big part of the last couple movies. He and Crypto was the first year. They were definitely the top guys, and we split the overall winning between those two. And then
Do you give them like
You
one ski each from surface, or?
No, they didn't get. Maybe they got some swag, but they just got super famous and everything. But no, I made these little trophies for them, and yeah, and then Joel has won the other 2 years. Joel Magnuson from Swede. He's definitely been the he's been the goat for those events in the last 2 years.
Yeah, sick. So is it just like a big open session on a, is it always a DF? I mean, I saw the DFD recap videos. Maybe
Yeah,
there's,
it's so far it's been the same rail. It's like the most classic street rail of all Finland. Like everybody's been there. Like all level one movies, everybody has been there.
yeah,
And it's just like a little in a park, so it's pretty easy to host without getting like kicked out and everything. And it's just like natural speed and a super chill rail, and it's like pretty cool zone. So we just had it there, and we would never like ask for permissions or anything. So we don't want to like try. We tried to keep it like fairly low key, even though it's grown and getting bigger. And it's a fun event because like not too much happens in the winters that are like outside fun events, because in the summers there's a lot of like open airs and like skateboard events and stuff like that. So it's nice to have a little something like that in the winters too.
nice. Yeah, I was gonna say it's like it looks like a whole party out there, like in the recap videos. Like how many
Yeah,
people
that's
are you getting out now? Like for
huh.
the last one, how many people come out for those?
That's hard to say. I think a lot of people come out.
Probably at
Maybe
least a
like
hundred, right?
overall like maybe like a couple hundred even. It's hard to say. I don't really know what 100 people looks like, but that's just my estimate.
Yeah.
But there's at least last year and the year before there was a lot of skiers too, and hopefully we get some more snowboarders, because it's like we tried to keep it as a snowboard event also, but not too many snowboarders have shown up in these years. But maybe next year, and a lot of skiers come like further out also from like towns further from out from like Helsinki, and drive a couple hours to be there, and it's super fun. And I hope one day we could have like a stick party. We just never have any budget, and so it's hard to like host a party because they would need some money. But maybe one day we get like Monster or somebody to cash in big time, and we can do something more fun.
Yeah, I mean, let me know if you ever need logistics for organizing parties. That's like my full-time job right now. So,
Yeah, yeah. No, you're welcome to host a mega session after party. That would be good times.
always happy to help brainstorm. It's like you could turn it into almost a like a league. Like you could do 3 stops, maybe. I mean,
Yeah,
obviously it's work, but I think about all
yeah,
of, like skating and inline. You know, they always have those street spots where it's like
yeah,
a
and
hundred
like
people.
DIYX also
Yeah, there's
the
so many.
snowboard event. But yeah, it's also or we should decided to keep it like super like low key and just do it exactly how we want to. So if you would start to blend in too many big sponsors and stuff, it would probably be something that's more out of our hand. I don't know, but we just like how it is, how it's like some people care a lot about it and show up, and then some people have no idea what's happening, and
Yeah, of
it's
course.
fun. It's super fun. I hope everybody and it's also nice because a lot of people are always filming in Finland and Helsinki, so we always have some people from like the States or everywhere around that time in Helsinki, so they show up to the event also.
Yeah, man, I would love to get out there. Honestly, that'd be sick. I
Yeah,
think it's not too
no,
far
yeah,
of a flight,
last week of
hopefully.
February. Yeah.
And what about the Fora Open? So, what's your involvement with that, and like, what's the like, how's the event unfold versus like kind of the more underground street event?
Mm, yeah, I spoke about it quickly before I spoke about this event, but
Yeah,
it's just it's more like a classic park event style. There's no nothing big behind it either. We're just like a part of a smaller, or we're like small part of a big event, and we just do something so people, because I always loved going to events, and I thought that was the main thing for a guy like me who's like not involved in like the comp scene or anything. So it's a nice place to just see homies, and now people maybe have more of a reason to come to Ruka in the spring.
Nice. And, like, any plans on like expanding that or turning into a huge party? It feels
There's
like there's
always a
two
good.
different vibes, like the kind of the park comp scene, than like the street. It's probably
Yeah,
gonna
no,
see 10
there's
hours
there's
apart.
definitely some good parties because it's like a big spring break event at Ruka at the same time. But no, we just like to keep it mellow, and
Yeah,
it's getting better every year, of course, because we've done it more, and like the owner of the spring break event changed also, and this new guy is more of a homie, and yeah, we just it's not like our main focus or anything. It's just something we do in the spring to see all the homies and get people together.
yeah, it's sick. I mean, thank you on behalf of the ski community of like setting it up. Like it's so cool to have these events, like you mentioned. Like I love going to them. A lot of other people do too, but
Yeah,
behind the scenes, like it's always work. Like someone has to sit down and have the idea and like talk to the right
yeah,
people to make it happen, and figure out a format and communicate it out. Like there's a lot that goes into it behind the scenes, of course. So, and
yeah.
most people do it for the love too. And like I don't think anyone's getting rich off of throwing fun events. Yeah,
No, yeah, no, we never really got any money. We do it because we like to do it, that it's fun, and we like to going to events. So somebody has to be organizing them also.
for sure. Dude, there's also one last thing I want to talk about before we jump off that we should talk about. It's just your personal ski career. And I think we've touched on it kind of as we progress through like your filming street and kind of upbringing where you're at now with doing events. But I'd love to hear more about, I guess, first off, your sponsors. So you mentioned you're writing for Surface and Arsenic. Like, how did all that come up, and kind of what's your relationship with them now?
Mm,
And any other sponsors, of course.
I also write for the new boot brand Phenom. Uh,
Sick.
but yeah, pretty much. So I, s- I started buying arsenic a long time ago, 2015. Just found them through Bunch, and no, actually, I I was I wait, need to think for 1 second. Oh yeah, so I sent my season edit to Tobias, which is one of the OG Bunch homies, and he was revision guy back then, and he was like, "This is sick. You should try to, write for revision." And then Talti Dan was the guy behind like TMing revision kind of back then.
Hmm.
Got to know him through revision. Started buying some arsenic stuff around then, and then always just that back then he was selling it more to like homies and stuff. Not a big brand like these days. So I was like talking to him a lot and like about shipping and stuff, and then we started making movies, and he like got to know more of the Forre crew, and like he started sending us some free stuff, which was awesome. And then
Yeah.
it's just from there, it's just I've been around that brand for like 7 or 8 years and seen it grow, and like done my part of trying to grow the brand also, and like rep the clothings, and all the homies have repped it too. And then he started supporting the movies more, and like with some like financial support, and then uh, it's just the brand's grown, and I've just been a part of the growing, and nowadays I also get some lucky enough to get some more support from Arsenic also, besides like outerwear and stuff, and which is super cool because never expected anything more than just a good homie relationship with Dan, and then getting some stuff was always nice, and so that's super awesome. And
Yeah. It's sick that they've grown so much that they can support beyond just like gear now. It's super nice.
yeah, yeah, it's super nice, at least coming from the situation that I've been around since he was just like selling a couple hats here and there to
Yeah,
friends
for
and stuff.
sure.
So it's awesome. And then also he's like loves to do the old school style and like make actual projects and stuff. So it's been nice to like he's flown out some good homies from the States here, like made some videos like we did last year with like Oski and Oliver and Cal and Chase and Minio and other homies. So that's also been super nice being able to like hang out with my good friends through those projects. And then Surface was, I think it was 2000, it was like just before COVID happened, so 2020 maybe. I was in that's the time we went to Quebec filming for Forgive with Tuukka and Joona, and then I was
Right.
always breaking skis. I never had any skis.
Oh, no.
Everything had gone out of business like years before that, so I just had some homies. I was skiing on A Hall's old skis and some other homies old skis and stuff, and then I was in Quebec, and then Jason, the guy who's doing the marketing and filming for Surface, he hit up he hit up Dan because we were with Talty down there. He was like Talty was being our guide, tour guide, and kind of like a dad for us on that trip. And he hit up Dan and asked if I would need some skis, and I was like, whatever. Like I don't really know that brand too well. And then Jason, then it's slowly I got a pair of skis and I didn't like them, but then I brought them back to Finland anyways, and then I just kind of started liking them, and then Jason did a good work of just slowly growing the company, like you know getting me closer to the company, and then I realized that it's a pretty cool brand, and then he quickly also showcased that he wants to support as much as he can do, even though it being a small brand, and it's also been nice to being around Surface and see that brand grow a bunch, and see the you barely knew about the brand before, and now I see those skis almost every day, even here in Finland, and
Austria also,
uh,
for sure.
yeah, which is super cool to like kind of be like super happy about that I've been able to help the brand grow, and in all like tried my best and it's worked out, and even having my own ski now is awesome and something
Yeah, let's talk about that too. You got a pro model, like sick. It's so nice.
yeah, yeah,
How did that come
that was
about?
just huh?
How did that come about? What's the story?
So yeah, we kind of started talking about it early in the days because Jason mentioned or Surface mentioned that it's like easier for them to support financially if we make a ski, and I just had the big formula part come out, and was just filming a lot, and doing movies and stuff, and then I thought it would be pretty cool, and kind of do it like skateboarding brand style where you're like done some good parts and you're like growing as a skier, and your name's growing, and then it was cool to do a graphic. It's a ski that they had before, and they still have it in like their own. Like the ski has its own graphic also, and then
Yeah.
we just started talking about it pretty early, and then it seemed like something, something that would be a nice new project to do, and then I had my homie Ruben, who also skis for Surface, helped with the graphics, and we've done it with him ever since, and we're gonna have fourth model next season we're working on right now, so it's all worked out pretty good.
Nice. And how's your like relationship with the team? I assume it's really good. But just
Uh,
I feel or sorry, go ahead.
mm, I I know I don't know most of the homies, I would say, because it's a pretty US based team and like company after all. But of course, like Minio, one of my best homies, like I probably do most of my skiing with him these days. Who's also was fortunate enough to get a pro model, and like he did put some work behind those skis also. And then I know the Swedish guys pretty well, like Ruben and Felix, the Digit guys, and
Mhm.
know some of the US guys also, but not as well as the Europeans. And we've done some Europe like team weeks kinda, and it's always been a good time.
Oh, do you know Gmon? Shout out Gmon.
Oh yeah, I've met him. I don't know him super well, but we did one team week together in Adelboden GMP.
Yeah, he's a homie for sure. And do you know Luca also? Italian. Lives in Innsbruck.
Mm, maybe, I'm not sure. But could be that I've met him and I'm bad with remembering stuff and names. Tend to meet so many skiers when I'm traveling and so on, so it's hard to remember all the
Yeah,
helmets.
he's on the surf skis too. Sick rider.
True.
So actually, when I was asking about the team, I meant more like the team, as in like the team management, rather than the
Oh, true.
riders, which was why I was like, I bet it's really good. You have a pro model,
Oh yeah.
but more in terms of like, I know like a lot of homies ride for brands that they get two skis a year, but if they need to reach out to the team, ghosted, like they don't hear from anyone for a
Oh
year.
no no
They don't
no.
get budget for anything. Like, how's your experience working with a smaller brand? So, I mean,
Oh,
I
it's
personally had a lot of good experience with the smaller world, and yeah, I would love your take.
uh it's it's awesome. It's super easy. They're really understanding. It's always been easy, and I think that's a part why I ended up staying on the brand, because at the beginning, like I said, I thought I was like, this is like not the coolest thing, the coolest brand there is, but they did a good job of showing how it's so easy to work with them. They're really understanding. They're proud of us, and they like what we're doing, and they try to support as much as they can do. So it's always been super easy, and I'm like happy to be like representing a brand that I can like back in every way there is. Like I like the skis, I like the riders, I like how the corporate side works also, and just easy to work with them. Always has been.
Yeah, I feel like people forget that when they're thinking about like who to ride for. Everyone's like so obsessed with like, all right, it's a
Yeah, no,
big brand because they have a better team or whatever it is. But at the end
yeah,
of the day, like working with smaller brands is so much nicer. They do so much more for you as an athlete as well
yeah,
because they care.
yeah, no. And I feel like there's good and bads in small and big brands, because at least what I've seen, and I think for me that wouldn't have worked out. At least in the beginning, getting on the brand, if they wouldn't like not have been like super supportive and like try to like push it to work the whole thing. So that's a big reason why it all ended up working so well, because they they listened to me and we made it work together and not just like on each end or like separate ends.
Yeah, sick. And then I guess for you mentioned Phenom as well, footwear.
Yeah, yeah, that's more of a recent thing.
How's
Uh,
that?
it's awesome. Just like great boots, and you know boots are something that I've never really paid too much attention to, and now I'm starting to pay more attention to them. And uh, I lost my bag when I went to Hood, and I didn't have any skis or boots. And then Jason, the Surface TM, uh, he had a pair of when they were still like prototyping the boots. He had extra pair, and he borrowed them to me, and then I ended up liking them, and he told me to hit them up to ask for a pair, and they were super hyped, and they wanted me to like join their launch and just be a part of the group, which has been awesome, and they've been really supportive, and they are also they it's nice because they just want me to do what I'm doing and not try to do something else.
Yeah, that's sick. Cause what's her story again? Is it Factions Boot or something like that?
No, it's not. It's not Factions Boot. It's the same like mother company owner as Faction. So
Right.
there's
Yeah.
some of the same people behind it, but it's like a separate thing.
And what's Faction's mother company? Actually, don't even know.
I think it's Full Stack Supply.
Who else do they own? Do you know?
I can't remember. Maybe they do some snowboards. Maybe I'm not quite sure.
I try to remember all the it's like food, like P&G, Unilever. There's all the big ski brand umbrellas. There's like K2,
Yeah,
where like Line and X Full Tilt, and obviously K2, and then Amer Sports, like Armada, like Salomon, and then Ross,
yeah,
the other
yeah.
crew.
Yeah, you'll probably find it online, but I haven't. I've definitely heard about those, but I haven't looked too much deeper into it. I'm just the boot guy.
Another one for ChatGPT.
Yeah.
How do you like the boots? What's new about them, or that you've noticed that really stands out?
Uh, I just they're black. They're nice. They're nice looking boots, obviously, and then I think they're super comfy. Which I ride a. I've always been riding a super small boot. I think my feet are 28.5, and ride a 26.5 boot. I have a size 10 US
Do you
feet.
have toenails left?
Yeah, no, yeah, I do. I do. My toes are actually pretty fine. They're looking nice, but no, I just always like the tight, like a super tight boot, and that's always something that I've kind of been. I was riding solid boots for a long time before these, and then I got these, and they fit tight, but they're also more comfy than riding like just like two small boots. Now I'm
Yeah.
riding two small boots that are more comfy for me. So
Do you know what the flex pattern is?
I probably should know, but I don't really know too much. I just like the boots,
They just
and
felt good, and I
they
like to
just
ride
felt,
them.
they felt. I've never really been into any technical stuff. I don't really know anything
Yeah,
about my skis either. Just that they're nice skis and they look good, and that's kind of all I need.
they look good. They do the tricks.
Yeah.
Right on. And what's so? I guess like just getting back to your career overall, you've come up from doing all these street parts, at least the way I've seen it, and really been killing it in that world, which has been really cool. Like,
Thank you.
yeah, I guess for you, like, where your trajectory is at now, where do you see your ski career progressing, and what do you think is next for you?
Uh, I don't really know. That's something that I try to not to think about too much because then it gets more forced. But I've been filming more myself, like making videos and filming more. I got some cameras for myself, and I've been enjoying that a lot. And that's
What's your
something that
camera of choice?
I have a HVX and a HBX, uh, to the classic. But I've definitely enjoyed that a lot. So I want to try to film some more just as a filmer, and then maybe do my own big project that it's like I want to try to film and edit with some homies, and then do more events would be fun, or like make the events bigger that we've done now. And yeah, I don't. It's hard to say. It's kind of just one step at a time,
Yeah, for sure. Like, I guess you're not the kind of
but
person.
something towards that.
I was gonna say, like,
Yeah.
you're not the kind of person who sets goals for yourself, I guess, like on a long term, and just more kind of
No,
going with the flow.
no. I think, and also I think as like a film skier, a street skier, there's not really too many goals to be set. Maybe if you're a comp skier, you can like win the Olympics and like win X Games and stuff, but we don't really have anything besides make a nice part that you're proud of.
Yeah, or get that one rail that's been in your head
Yeah,
for 5 years.
yeah. But yeah, that's true. But I would maybe wouldn't call that a goal. That's just like a vision.
Yeah, for sure. And I guess like for you personally, do you build out like a career elsewhere in your life? Like I know you mentioned kind of like building, for example, the pump tracks, but is there anything else like outside of skiing that you're kind of also building out and thinking about long term on?
Mm, uh, not at the moment. I'm not like doing school or anything. Maybe just like I don't know, being a better person, a better human being, and trying to be healthy and have good friends and love in my life. And I don't know, nothing like career wise at the moment. At least maybe I'm hoping someday I'll find something that I'm interested in, and that could also bring some money to the table.
Yeah, for sure. All you mentioned is really important too, and I think people forget about it. Like
Yeah.
actually, you mentioned health. That is something I wanted to ask you about. Like as a street skier, I assume you just get worked a lot. Like, do you have like a workout or like health regimen that you're tied to, or are you the
Mm,
opposite part of the spectrum where you're just like ripping beers every night and all is well?
no, I think I'm maybe probably something in between.
Hmm.
I definitely like to rip some beers every now and then, but I also try to stay healthy and been lucky enough to be blessed with a body that uh, I don't have to work on too much to
For
stay
now,
healthy. For now, at least. Well, I'm still young, and
in 30s, see what happens.
yeah, yeah, no. But one step at a time. But for now, I've been just you know not eating too unhealthy, and I guess hitting spots is also kind of a big workout with all the
Just say,
building and
yeah, like
and
hiking a
hiking and stuff.
rail is my entire workout in the winter, and like I mean pizza every day, like it's fine. It's crazy how
Yeah,
it keeps you in shape. Like people forget.
yeah. But no, of course, it's maybe not the best way, but I just never really been a big workout guy or like in that way. And but if I feel like I have something, if I have an injury or something, I definitely like to take my time and try as best as I can to like get myself healthy.
Yeah. Have you had any like big injuries or setbacks?
Not really. Every now and then I have something small, but nothing like major.
Yeah, that's crazy skiing street. Like I always thought it was like so gnarly, but I guess like it's you'll get worked more like being a comp skier at the end of the day almost.
Yeah, and I feel like if you're good at something, you don't really, if you're a good park skier, good comp skier, you're not gonna fall every day. And if you like have been skiing street for like 7 years, you maybe know how to build a jump or build a spot so you don't get like super wrecked. Of course, you get to take some crashes every now and then, but that's like nothing you can really do about.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's one of the things I was wondering that I was hoping you'd kind of pick up on when I was asking about your first like ventures out into the street. So I remember like my first time I went out, or maybe not my first time, but like my first time with a crew that knew they were what they were doing. I was out with Line Traveling Circus, just filming in New York, like in the city.
Yeah,
And I was just kind of giving them some spots that I had hit around, and I was like, "Do you want the gnarly stuff, or do you want kind of the fun stuff?" And they're like, "Give us the gnarly stuff." And I was like, "All right." So we go to a spot, and it was just like the most. It's in the video if you look it up. Like I think it's the thumbnail even. Lion Traveling Circus, New York City. It's just like the gnarliest, like DF, 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 D. Like the rail's like that thick, which for people watching is like 2 inches. Like no skirt on it, just like these thin rods everywhere. And then it was lip on, which was fucked because there was a post there. And
yeah,
if you came onto the stairs, like off the first kink, there was a very low chance you were going to ride out the staircase without hitting the other side. And the other side was just these, barriers. And I'm there being an absolute noob. And, we're like shoveling the stairs, which I get, fair enough. And I'm like, do we want to put some snow around these like super sketchy railings that we could hit? And they're like, Yeah, but you can't look like there's snow, so like you got to just put a bowl, like a little cup around them, so your ski bounces off it. I was
Yeah.
like, sure, whatever. Like I had no idea. Or another one was there was like imagine a fence, right? And it's just made of all these different metal rods that are flat on top,
Hmm.
that are maybe like 3 centimeters wide, right? And they're
Yeah.
spaced out. So if you like had this go between your legs, like you get chopped in half, and it
Yeah.
was pretty high up, like not good to hit. And Will was trying to 1 foot like ski slide it. I was like,
Yeah.
dude, aren't you gonna die if you like slip out? And he'd actually built on the backside of it like a whole snow ledge so that if his ski fell off, it would just catch him right before it like kind of pretty much nutted him.
Yeah.
Which it was just all these little things that I did not click
Yeah.
with until like I
Yeah.
would have just tried it and died.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's kind of, just like just need, some logical thinking and you'll be good.
Yeah. Sick. Well, dude, I think we've like gone around the horn. Is there anything
Yeah.
else you want to like plug, put out there, let the people know?
Uh, Not really. Maybe if you have money and need skis, go buy my pro model skis and you'll get some money right in my bank account from doing that. And go buy some new swag from Arsenic for some new boots from Venom and watch a
Hell
Forre
yeah.
movie if you're bored.
Go support the homie. Service
Yeah.
are sick.
Yeah, support the people who support the homies.
For sure, dude. All right. 2 hour mark. Pretty good. We'll cut it there. Goodbye, podcast
Thank you.
folks, internet.